Entering their second season in the SEC, the Oklahoma Sooners brought in two very solid transfer players to bolster their offense. John Matier at the quarterback position out of Washington State, and Jaden Ott at the running back position out of California. Both one of the best players at their respective positions in the portal. They're going to help to improve this Oklahoma team in year two in the SEC greatly. Illinois State will be a very easy game to set them up for a home matchup with Michigan. The Wolverines have a lot of question marks surrounding them. The sign stealing scandal will be adjudicated sometime this offseason, and we really don't know what's going to happen at this point. Regardless, we feel pretty good about Oklahoma at home here. They have, like I was saying, Matier at quarterback. Michigan is going to be on the road starting a very young quarterback in his true freshman season in Bryce Underwood. And because he's on the road that early in the season, I don't think that Michigan's going to have much of a chance here. The defense is always going to be good, but we really like Oklahoma to pull out this win at home.
Like Jonah was saying, even though defensively Michigan is always great, just with the questions they have on offense, I think that's just going to be the difference maker. I think Oklahoma defensively still has a lot of strong players returning, and they will be able to handle whatever the Michigan offense throws at them. Just need to protect the football in this game, especially at home. Following week, first road trip of the season, going to face Temple. The Owls, not a great team. They were, I believe, one of the worst teams last year in the FBS and should be a very easy win for the Sooners here. The following week against Auburn, one of the most hyped up teams going into next season, bringing in former Oklahoma quarterback Jackson Arnold to compete for the starting job, along with true freshman Deuce Knight. Won't really depend on who the starting quarterback is here at home. I believe the Sooners are going to be the better team offensively with Matier and Jaden Ott. They are going to be set and a lot better than Auburn, even though Auburn does have some really good young wide receivers. Defensively, I think the Sooners are going to be miles ahead. Should be a win here for the Sooners.
Then they have a bye week to end September and a really easy game to start out the month of October in Kent State. That will be win number five. They will head into the Red River rivalry undefeated. Texas is going to be a really, really good team, though. This one, like every year, will be at the Cotton Bowl. Arch Manning at the helm for the Longhorns, and the team around him is just incredible. They are our number one team heading into next season as of our spring top 25 poll. They just have so much talent on both sides of the football. It is really tough to see Oklahoma winning this game, so we are going to go with Texas. Oklahoma has a really good team this season, and I think that they're going to have a chance to make this game really competitive, which, if Texas is the number one team in the country, is still a very impressive effort from Oklahoma. But we are going Longhorns.
Like Jonah was saying, definitely could be a competitive game. I think this is one of the most competitive rivalry games we see year after year. These teams have alternated who has won the past 4 years. Oklahoma actually has the most recent winning streak, winning four in a row from 2018 to 2021. I do think Texas will win back-to-back games this year, though. They were the number one team last year when they played Oklahoma in this rivalry game. They will most likely be around the number one spot this year as well. Following week against South Carolina on the road, Gamecocks are one of those teams that we are very high on going into next year with Lenore Sellers back at quarterback after a phenomenal freshman season. One of the dark horse candidates for the Heisman Trophy next year. South Carolina defensively is also very strong. Their defensive line is losing a couple key pieces, but they still have a very young core to build around. And I think they're going to be a very, very good team going into next year, making a run in the SEC. Oklahoma will be a difficult opponent for them, but since South Carolina is at home, I do think the Gamecocks will be able to get the job done here.
Yeah, just a really tough stretch of back-to-back games there for the Sooners, dropping them from 5-0 to 5-2. However, the next week against Ole Miss, going to be a pretty interesting game, but at least they have the home field advantage this time. The Rebels losing Jackson Dart to the NFL draft after 4 seasons of him being the starting quarterback, it's going to take some getting used to, but Austin Simmons is going to be a really solid starter for them. Given that it is his freshman season, though, first time as the starter, I think he might struggle just a little bit, even though he is incredibly talented. There's going to be some growing pains. Ole Miss might not be on the verge of a playoff berth this season like we have seen them in the past few. I think Oklahoma is able to bounce back here at home and get a win over a pretty solid team, but just not quite the level that we've seen over the past few years.
Following week against Tennessee at Neyland Stadium. This was going to be an interesting game originally if Nico Iamaleava stayed, but he is now a UCLA Bruin, and the Tennessee quarterback situation is a little dicey. They do have Joey Aguilar transferring in from UCLA. I don't know if he is their answer for next season. We will have to see how that QB battle plays out. Other than that, they are losing Dylan Sampson, their starting running back from last year, to the NFL draft, along with James Pierce Jr., who was their best defensive player. I do think, despite this good coaching staff the Volunteers have, I think the players they are going to have in key spots are not going to be able to compete with some of the players the Sooners have. Again, we've said it time and time again, you're bringing in two of the best possible players you can out of the transfer portal at your quarterback and running back position. If you have star players at those positions, you can do just about anything. And I think the Sooners will go into Neyland and get a win.
It'll be a tough game for sure. Tennessee still has a lot of good players at, every other position. Aguilar should be a serviceable quarterback, but not quite as good as Nico was. So yeah, I do think that Oklahoma will get that win on the road. And then after their bye week, facing Alabama on the road. And the Crimson Tide, unfortunately for Oklahoma, are going to be out for revenge after losing last season 24-3, costing them their college football playoff berth. The Sooners, despite having a really good team going on the road to Bryant-Denny Stadium, I think that Alabama is going to really, really want revenge in this one, and they're going to be a really good team this year. They're going to get it. Oklahoma will drop to 7-3.
Coming off that loss, they will turn back home to face Missouri. Tigers, I believe, were a little overrated last season. There were times I was surprised they were a top 25 team, and I think they will see some massive regression from last season going into 2025, particularly at the quarterback position. Having Bo Pribula replace Brady Cook is not the greatest of options. And along with Luther Burden going off to the NFL draft, I think this team will see a significant decrease in wins. And with Oklahoma on the rise, I think they will be able to get another SEC win here against the Tigers.
And speaking of Tigers, the LSU Tigers are their opponent to close out the season. LSU has Garrett Nussmeier returning for his senior season, one of the favorites to win the Heisman Trophy. Around him is a very solid roster. They are one of our preseason top 10 teams. And I think that LSU is a very dangerous team for Oklahoma to face. But the Sooners have them at home. This is going to be a great quarterback battle. Like I was saying, LSU has Garrett Nussmeier. Well, John Matier is a very good dual threat quarterback. He's going to give the LSU defense some problems. I think Oklahoma is going to stick in this one. And to close out the season, we'll pull off a massive upset over LSU to move to 9-3. Our way too early projection for Oklahoma was only 6.8 wins, and we had them going 7-5. This is one of the biggest jumps we've had from our way too early predictions, bringing them up to 9-3. The projection all the way up to 8.15 wins, 3.85 losses, 4.45 wins in the SEC. Now, the main reason for that, we did a lot more research on John Matier as well as Oklahoma adding Jaden Ott after we made their video originally for the way too early projections. They've gotten a lot better since then. So we are predicting them to go 9-3, which is conveniently their ceiling in our minds. However, their floor is going to be 6-6. We think that they have just too good of a team to not make a bowl game. and 6-6 is really the worst that we can see them doing. So thank you guys for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and we will see you in our next video.